Hey there, welcome back to the table. Okay, a couple of awful things happened. Number one, I just went through this big explanation of how we're skipping mission 9 and only to have my camera freeze. And I can't recover it. Like I had to completely reboot the computer. So then going back to the JB thing here, I'm gonna have to make a decision for you, JB. I'm gonna fill in both. I'm gonna give you a ship upgrade, and I'm gonna give you, for sure, a shield, +1. Okay. This will make sense in a second. Like I said, I went through this big long explanation with everybody, and with Josh, we're going to give him one more hole. Okay, and then Starla gets to take a -1 out of her deck. All right. My apologies, folks. This will make sense in a few seconds. Okay, scenario 9. Let's go back. Remember I told you this is the prologue where the designers wanted you to experience everything in the game before you leave. Scenario 9 is an impossible mission that you're meant to lose. There is no victory. There's like a moral victory of you need to survive for 6 rounds. Okay, 6 is your magic number. 6 rounds. So let me show you what happens here without all the glare. The Sparrow is going to be here. It's going to have 10 health. You're going to be around it. And then you got all these ships that are going to spawn in on the outer edge. Being where we are here, this ship and this ship will get there fairly quickly. This ship, by the way, they don't have much. They have some shields. The Nebula will, destroy their shields as they're on their way to us. But we'll be dealing with ships, relatively quick. But for sure, we can finish one round where chances are nobody would even be able to attack us. So one round, easy peasy. By round 2, I'm going to have 2 ships on me that we can stun. Remember, I still have Josh's EMP blast, so we can stun those 2 ships and still keep it going. I have to look up the synthetic cruiser. We may not be able to stun them, but you get the idea. And then, this ship should be closing in, and then these 4 might be on us within one more round. So now we're talking round 3. Everybody should be on us by round 3, which is all we have to survive is 3 rounds. Now remember, we can flip over our engines and stuff like that to take hits or to absorb hits. So we can easily survive 3 rounds. And it doesn't matter that some of us gets KO'd. You're going to see why in a second, but it doesn't matter. Because like I said, you're meant to lose this mission. Now you might be thinking, Jeff, these are just a bunch of ships. Why can't you destroy them? Yeah, the synthetic cruiser is a pretty nice ship, but it's still beatable. Well, that's because after 3 rounds, something else happens. We read more story. And the gist of this story is we're trying to get that, so we went and got that warp drive piece, that crystal. And Greece has taken forever to get the warp drive going. So we're sort of like dead in the water. And the enemy's closing in and trying to destroy the Sparrow before it can warp out. Well, then the story continues, and the ship that destroyed the entire planet, the Death Star type of ship, spawns in at Space A, and that ship is this guy. This guy is called the Titan, and he looks like a jellyfish with a helmet. So you can see like little eyeballs here. This is a big red window. Very important, and these are little red windows. That's actually thematically important for later in the game, but don't worry about that yet. But yeah, this dude comes in. It has almost like 60, 80 hit points. It's impossible to kill. Absolutely impossible. There's no way, and it's what the designer intended. Okay, so it's going to spawn here, And I will tell you, it's a very slow moving ship. So to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces, the only thing it will target is the Sparrow, but it will hit us if we happen to be in his line of sight. But his attacks will affect us, but even if we're right next to him, he won't shoot at us. He won't rotate at us. He only targets the Sparrow. Okay, none of it matters. Because then, remember I told you the magic number is 6 rounds. So yeah, you're going to have all these ships, which might actually be a problem for 6 rounds. We might even have a few of them destroyed by the time round 3 comes. These things aren't impossible to kill. And given, all of our abilities, we are able to shoot and do battle, and we will destroy some of these ships. So I'm not even going to say that all 6 of these ships or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all 8 of these ships are even going to be shooting at us at this point. What I am telling you, though, is that Titan takes several turns to get here. And so then the objective is on the next page. So we flip over to that. And it's saying, okay, keep the Sparrow alive until the end of round 10. That is actually super hard to do. I don't think that, especially on this level of difficulty, I could do that. But all you need to do is go 6 rounds. Because whether you go 1 round, 3 rounds, 6 rounds, 10 rounds, 20 rounds, it doesn't matter. The conclusion is exactly the same. And what this is they want you to learn to play on what happens when you gain trauma. So what you saw me do is I gave every one of our pilots 1 trauma, because no matter what, we all lose the mission. So we get a moral victory by surviving 6 rounds. And so what you saw me doing is I was giving everybody a pilot skill for surviving 6 rounds, which is what you get here. But no matter what, everybody gains 1 trauma. And I think I forgot to give 1 to Starla. Yep, I did. So I know I haven't explained trauma super well, but if you ever get to 7 stress, you're going to draw these trauma cards, and for every one of these traumas you have, you gain another card. So basically, you get more bad things happening to you. You can spend 20 coins to get rid of a trauma at a star dock, which we have never discovered yet in this game, but we will soon. Okay. So I hope you don't mind, but I saved us an hour-long video and instead spent 7 minutes and 40-some seconds explaining why we're going to skip this scenario. Trust me, it's worth skipping. That would have been an hour-long mission, at least, controlling 8 ships like that, trying to stay alive and coming up with strategies. Yeah, it's all fun and whatnot. Don't get me wrong, but it's a mission that you're supposed to lose. So it's just not worth doing. Okay, so the only thing you can technically argue is, Jeff, you don't know for sure if you would have survived 6 rounds. I know for sure. I know that those of you who think that mathematical impossibilities of 0.00001% is still something that means that you have to play it just to find out if that 0.0001% ever happens. I know you guys, some of you live in that world, and I'm just going to keep you in that world. I'm going to tell you, I survived 6 rounds. It's not worth it. It's not worth an hour and a half of my time. Okay. And you might be thinking, okay, well, this thing does, he can kill all of us in 1 hit. Absolutely. He can kill the Sparrow in 1 hit. Absolutely. Remember, we can block 4 hits on the Sparrow. 4. And then the Sparrow can absorb at least 1 other hit from a regular ship. Maybe not this one, but another ship. This guy doesn't spawn until round 4. And then we only need to survive 6 rounds. And it's going to take this guy at least 2 rounds. It won't be until the 3rd round that he can actually shoot on the Sparrow. Guaranteed. Because his cards, he just doesn't move that much. And anyways, I'm done defending that. If you have a problem with it, send a letter to my manager. Captain Simo, or is that her name, Simo? Yeah, send a letter to her. Tell her what you think. Okay. Sorry, I'm reaching for some cards here. Oh, here they are. Synthetic Titan. Look at that. He moves 1 space. So his move, he doesn't even move. Look, that's only an attack action. So he rotates, and he does a move. Well, there is no move. His attack is he literally moves one space. And then he hits everybody within 2 spaces of him. Yeah, so you tell me, is that going to, round 4, he's going to literally move 1 space towards us and do a 2 space away attack. Look at this one. He's going to suck any ship that's 3 spaces away towards him. The Sparrow is immune to pushes and pulls. And he's going to move 1 more space. 1 more space. But at least here, look, he does a really pretty attack. So he's going to hit everybody around him. So that would at least be 3 more spaces, right? So that one could possibly hit us. If 1 card out of 3 we've looked at so far. Look at this one. 1 more space. That is a 3-space attack with a -2. He does do a lot of damage. 1 more space. 1 more space. There's a 2-spacer. So hopefully you're getting the gist. 1 round. So round 4. Complete misses, right? Round 5. Maybe a 3-range attack like that one. Comes close. Round 6, for sure. After a 3rd move, for sure something like this would hit us. But that's it. I just wanted to case as much as possible that this mission was worth skipping. All right, moving on. Scenario 10. The pilot's debriefing was scheduled only a few hours after you escape. Oh, by the way, we fixed the grease. Finally does her job and fixes the warp drive, and we warp out of there. Most of the pilots took the opportunity to find their rooms, clean up, and sleep if they could. Looking around the briefing room, most of your faces you see are still tired with bleary eyes. The door slides open, and in walks Captain Soma, with Sol in tow. Perkins, the communications officer, drags a small container behind him. From the podium, Soma heads to your group, grabs a chair, and sits down. You exchange nervous looks with your fellow pilots. Still, before anyone can work out what's going on, Soma reaches into the container, pulls out some cold drinks, and starts passing them around. Pilots, you may survive more days like that, but they won't get any worse than that. There's an awkward silence. You look down in the drink in your hand, then back up at Soma, who has already taken her first sip from the bottle. A brief cough comes from Sol, standing to her side, and Soma quickly adds, "Oh yes, you've all graduated, by the way. As far as I'm concerned, you're still here. You've earned it." A little smile creeps in at the corners of her mouth, and Sol chuckles at your reaction. "Congratulations, pilots." "Ma'am," one of the other officers puts forward a question. "How can the Wraithens still be around? I thought you had just about wiped them out." A shadow passes over Soma's face. "I don't know how, but let's save that problem for tomorrow," she forces a smile. It breaks a few moments for the ice to fully break. It takes a few moments. Once the congratulations and celebrations between the pilots start, they quickly gather steam. Within a few minutes, there are hugs, tears, and laughter all around. Captain Soma raises her hand to get your attention. "Enjoy yourselves, pilots. These moments can be few and far between. We're on our way to the Yurs to regroup and rebuild the alliance." She looks down uncertainly. "We'll tackle who came after us tomorrow, but for now, let's savor the small victories." With that, she hands out another round of drinks. You all clink the bottles together in celebration. Okay, so this is where some of our past catches up to us. The reward. If we have civilian rescue, which we do, we get co-pilot Anayali Ili. If we have Ashes of Medelia, we would get Rohan Pale. And if we have Wisdom or Cowardice, we get co-pilot Hiwar. Now, I don't know what any of them do. We'll go look them up in a second. Let's grab the co-pilots here. These used to be in alphabetical order. They're not anymore. So they're in the order, like these ones here are the ones that I'm pretty sure we had all these ones unlocked. So let's start here. There's Anel Yili. Okay, so the one that we're getting, because we did civilian rescues, we're going to get this co-pilot who, for 1 die, will either repair 2 shields or 2 hull, 3 spaces away, infinite number of targets. So basically, if As long as you're in the middle of something, it'll repair all the ships 3 spaces away, all allied ships. So it's not bad. That's pretty good. These are definitely the ones we unlocked. I can recognize a lot of these. So I'm going to put them in the back now. These should be in alphabetic order. The rest of these, they're not. Of course, make me look like a loser. So Rohan Pale. If we would have defended the planet, you would have gotten a co-pilot that lets you rotate and then shoot 2 spaces in front of you, all for 1 die. So it's a little rotate and shoot kind of action. This is not a bad one. Very situational, but it's not bad. And then Hewer is, if you were coward, you get a supply, 2 supply movement that lets you move backwards 2 spaces, because, that's what cowards do. And my son, by the way, thinks this is the best thing in the game. So he always wanted to be the coward next time we played. And of course, there is no next time for us. But yes, he mentions it all the time. So, I forgot to take our pilot. Okay, so what did co-pilots do? Well, co-pilots go into any slot to... They can go into your slot, they can go into the ship slot, or the open tech slots. And since we have open tech, we're just going to put it in the open tech slots. So because it's a repair action, I need to give it to somebody who's going to usually have a lot of extra dice left over. So I'm going to give that to Andrew, because he actually has an attack that, well... Starla is actually the perfect one for this type of co-pilot. And by the way, you can switch these around between people. So I'm actually going to give this one to Josh. He'll take the pilot for now. So it's a repair pilot. We don't get to use it very much with these ships doing so much damage at this harder difficulty level. But it's a nice little reward. And then, yeah, as you can tell, we're hitting the end of the prologue because the Learn to Play is giving us everything in the game, including a trauma for losing a mission. So we move over to here, and it's really hard to ignore this. Congratulations, you've completed the prologue. We got a little bit of story up here. Now this, I am going to slow down and read. This is very important to the story. You won't get an update to this for quite a while. Not until I think near the end of Act 1 will this story continue. But this is a good, probably one of the better parts of the flavor here. So let's do this properly. The starship's vast bridge is shrouded in darkness, with only a dim glow from the many consoles and displays. There are just 3 figures in the otherwise empty space. 2 of them stand almost motionless, while the third sits in a high-back chair, slightly hunched forward. The furthest forward of the group is below a wide bank of monitors. It stands with its hand folded back on a hinge. Exposed forearm reveals a variety of snaking cables emerging directly into the dashboard. The android turns away from the readouts, addressing the 2 individuals at the rear of the bridge in a synthesized voice. Scanners indicate medallion ship has achieved jump. Tracking lost. The second figure stands slightly in front of the chair, regarding the monitors closely. Her figures are much more human, but when she moves, she does so with the stiff and erect posture of an android. She turns her attention to the seated individual. Her voice is closer to human, but contains a slight modulation that betrays her synthetic nature. We've taken everything from them, Doctor. Is it necessary to pursue this one ship to the ends of the universe? Although the seated man appears bent and tired, his eyes glint with a grim determination. His wiry knuckles whiten as he grips the arm of the chair in frustration, and his expression turns to one of simmering anger. He is very human. His response is terse and quiet. Don't ask questions you know the answer to. That is the Sparrow, and Soma is on that ship. We will pursue it until there is nothing left to run down. Okay, so it's telling us to flip through the rule book, blah, blah, blah. You may choose to switch your starting ship, blah, blah, blah. This is, you know, it's all in the rules, so don't argue with it. Just do it. So as you can tell, and it even says down here, Dr. Zane is his name. So Dr. Zane is a human who hates Captain Soma. So he just destroyed the entire planet of Medelia with his little, you know, toy. And all of this because of something between him and Captain Soma. So that's why he wanted the Sparrow so bad. And of course we just, you know, off into space. And so there's your juicy little nugget, right? So we're going to go through all of Act 1 and not get a single dang update to this story until like near the very end. But that's what's happening here. So we're doing a little bit of a Battlestar Galactica where we are running from the Cylons. However, we're going to end up somewhere where there is civilization. And then we are going to be, they're basically enmeshed in a civil war, and we're going to have to pick a side and hope that whatever side we pick helps us. So that's coming, but not today. And then, so we completed the prologue, and just for completing the prologue, we get another reward. We all get a pilot skill, and we get, what does that say? 15 credits. So that is awesome. So I'm going to give 15 credits to everybody. Doing that right now. So at this point, it feels like we're rolling in the money, but we're really not. That's the problem, is we're really not rolling in the money, but it is good to have. So Josh here has 20, 30, 45 credits. 45 credits. It costs 50 credits just to get one ship upgrade. So, not the cheapest thing in the world. So he could easily blow through all this money. In fact, he doesn't even have enough to purchase that. So, and then to get rid of one trauma is 20. And then of course the modules can be as much as 40 to buy a new module. 40 would get you a really nice module. So he has just enough to basically buy one module right now. So it does look like they're rolling in the dough, but they're not. And that of course is after getting the extra 5, or he has 10 more than a normal mission. So if you're playing normal, you should be sitting on 30, maybe 35. You wouldn't have this 10. Okay, or actually, maybe just 30, because we would have gotten the extra 5. Even with the last mission, you get 5 credits even if they don't give you credits. And I'm wondering, I may have screwed this up. So when we did escape to safety, yeah, we took the extra credits there. Yeah, we might be okay. Technically, you get credits for that mission that I just skipped. That's what I'm thinking. All right. 5 credits to everybody, even though it's a mission we didn't do. Okay. All right. Then we get a pilot skill, and then we move on to scenario 12. So scenario 12 is going to start some, you can see here is called Uprising, and we are now officially in Act 1. Okay, so let's do the pilot skills. I told Andrew and JB that I would let them pick what they're going to get next, but we've just gained like 3 pilot skills since then. So, Andrew, I got you getting a +1. So, something that you missed because the last video got killed. You already got 2 +1s and a rotate. So now he's going to get another +1. So let me go grab that. And there she be. All right, then we move to JB here. JB is going to get halfway towards the -2. Andrew is ahead of everybody because remember he got the extra pilot skill on the planet. So he's one ahead of everybody else. There's Josh. And then Starla. Done. Okay, couple of things. This draconian system. You can see right where that -1 card is. We never explored that bottom corner. We were supposed to do that before we landed on the Chosic moon. Because as you can tell, we never had an opportunity to explore that. So there's a couple missions there that we didn't do. Well, there's an event that's forced on you that we didn't do. And then there's a mission that we didn't do. So both of those are, they're not that big of a deal, but still, we could have had a chance. So now it's telling us, okay, we finished Act 1, return the Draconian system deck to the box. So that's the system I just pointed you to, gone. Lower the Sparrow supply by 1. So we're at 9 supply, so we're going to lower it to 8. There was one thing in this game that we didn't get to do. The Sparrow actually gets upgrades. And that's one thing you will get to see here in Act 1. So they're telling us to set up the Virtus system deck and then reveal sector V3.2 and place a Sparrow on it. Then we're going to do some text and basically do some space exploration. Okay, so I was gone for a very long time. We actually had a bat inside of our house. So I had to help get the little guy out of the house, and we did so very safely. Not a single hair on its body was harmed. So that's really good. By the way, the trick to getting a bat out of your house is to turn all the lights on in your house, open like a door or a window, and make sure the lights are off wherever the open door or window is, because bats want to go where it's dark. And then have all the lights on really bright everywhere else. It also helps to have your door shut so it's, confined to a certain portion of your house. And then, yeah, it takes a couple tries, but it swoops around, and then it finds the hole, and then boom, it's gone. It just flies outside. How on earth they get in the house, I have no idea. We don't have a chimney, which is usually the way they get in. But anyways, neither here nor there. We definitely had an adventure here in the Jeff house. Okay, so they said that we need to get the Virtus system. And here they are. So just to put it in perspective, this was the Draconian system, right? So all 5 tiles. The Virtus system, huge this is. And you can very reasonably assume that this is all of Act 1. And that is true. Because the very moment that we get to the end of this and we're hightailing it out of this system and go into another one is when Act 2 starts. Okay, so it's telling us to reveal Sector 3.2, and it should have a start here. It does. So 3.2, that's where we were. We basically warped in, and that's the location we're at. But the moment we arrive, all kinds of stuff starts happening. So we're in the Ur system, which I don't like their naming conventions. Like Sol reminds me of Earth, or at least the Earth system, where the sun is. Greece, it sort of makes sense, but Greece, anyways, Ur, when you read this, it's going to sound like they're saying your, like your shoes or your hat. Everyone will carry memories of the destruction of Medalia. I'm going to let you read. So go ahead and take a snapshot there. You should be able to at least get all the way to here. And then another snapshot, read all that. then we have to make a choice. So just to quickly summarize, we just came in the middle of a civil war, which is what I was saying in earlier this video or the last video. I don't remember which one. So I'm going to flip over to here so you can see the mission. There's going to be your science vessels and your gunships. Yeah, see what I mean? Like your science vessel, your gunship. But no, it's your. Yeah. Anyways, it drives us nuts. We are going to have science vessels and gunships, okay? Because this is all the your race of people, but they're having a civil war. So the establishment is going to be in, I think, the gunships, and then the other ones are in the science vessel, okay? So we have to choose, what do we want to do? Do we want to aid the Sparks of Justice, which defeats the establishment ships, and the Sparks will not target you? Or do we aid the establishment? So we would defeat the ships, not target us. Or do we just stay out of the fight and we end up caught in a fight and all ships target us? We have to stay alive until one faction is destroyed. And we're not allowed to help. So we're being pacifists. So there's a lot to be said here. It says that the gunships are establishment, the science vessels are the Sparks. The establishment and Sparks are enemies. The enemy action phase is before the pilot action phase. That one is sort of wonky, but they basically go first. And then after that, it feels normal. All enemy ships are immune to hack. I'm pretty sure. I thought they already were, but maybe they're not. I don't think we have any hacks, so we don't have to worry about too much. So let's say that so we're going to have to set up on the next page, and if we succeed, you can see here we're going to do a choice. Whatever choice we do, so if we're going to do an establishment introduction, then boom, this happens. Actually, we don't do that until after, I guess. But see, we're going to be marking ourselves. Are we a pacifist or one of these, okay? And yes, there's consequences later in the game for any of those choices. And like I said, this is the battle. We're in the middle. All the ships are going to be all around us. For us to be pacifists is going to be really hard because they're going to be targeting, they will target each other. Like these two are the establishment ships and these four are the Sparks of Justice. These are basically super ships and these are the regular ones. These are a lot harder to kill. These ones down here. Just a full, transparency. Josh and I went with the establishment. And what you're going to end up finding out, and I'm spoiling a lot of stuff here, you're going to end up finding out that the establishment, the president or the CEO or whatever you want to call them, the leadership of the establishment is a bunch of one percenters. And I'm using a political term that, hopefully most of you understand. One percenters meaning that they are the top 1% wealthy, most powerful people. They're all cloning each other. So like the president, I don't know what the chancellor or whatever his name is, he actually has like 12 to 16 clones of himself running around, leading the establishment. And then if one of them dies, there's 15 others that are still alive, and they just keep cloning each other. So he has multiple copies of himself running around, doing things, and it's highly unethical, and it makes so they're living forever, so they're never giving up their power. Okay, so that's the beef that the Sparks of Justice has against them. If you help the establishment to win, this game is extremely forgiving. I mean, you would think, okay, well, that's helping the bad side. No, it's not, because the Sparks of Justice are a bunch of a-holes too, just in a different way. Like they were assassinating people, and basically they're willing to use bombs and kill innocent civilians and stuff like that. So everybody has like their little thing that they do. But I'm sure if I go and do the Sparks of Justice, I'm going to find out some crappy things about them. But anyways, I'm just helping you to see, when I did the establishment, that's sort of what came out. They were sleazeballs. But they did end up helping us at the end. And there is a big finale between these two where the Civil War gets resolved. And of course, you get a lot of say in what happens. You can get all the way to the end as one and then switch to the other side. You can get all the way to the end and just stay loyal. And then there's a way to force peace between them, sort of like a pacifist kind of option. There's a lot of choices. And if you go to the Sparks of Justice side, you get those same choices, but in reverse. So I don't think you should lose a lot of sleep over which one you choose. But the missions are going to be completely different. And that part I can tell you. Like the establishment missions were very different than these ones. And because my son and I did the establishment missions, I'm very tempted to do these ones so that way I have no advantage anymore. I can't say, oh, I did this mission before, I know what to do. I'm going to basically run out of having the advantage of telling you, hey, I know exactly what's going to happen next. I am going to know what's going to happen at certain planets when we land on those, because that's not going to change. But if I choose the Sparks of Justice, then I will absolutely for sure have no idea what those next missions are going to bring to me. Because whatever the space battles are, everything, it's not like it's the same space battle, you just play the other side. That's not the case. I mean, this game, they really do have page after page that's devoted towards one side or the other. And, you can see here, this is the Sparks, and you're helping out the Sparks, and you can see Revolution. But if you get up into the 50s, this is all, well, I think I went a little too far. 30s, this one would be, you're getting into the establishment, right? So that says the establishment there. And so, yeah, it gets really, really crazy. There's like a whole 10 missions in here. There's the next thing I want to show you. For the establishment, you have 1, 2, 10 levels of loyalty or rewards. So if I do something for them, I'm going to get 1 point. And this is literally 10 missions worth of stuff we have to do. So we're going to have to do 10 space battles or 10 whatevers to earn all 10 of these points. And then for the Sparks, you can track your points that you earn. It's reputation. That's the word I was looking for. 10 points of reputation. When you get to 10, that's when you're triggering the end of the Civil War, right? That's when that stuff's going to happen. In the meantime, while you're earning all these 10 points, there's a whole bunch of other things that you can get. And one of them right now is we're choosing Sparks Introduction or Establishment Introduction, right? So I just told you, in order to keep the game fresh for me, I'm going to choose Sparks Introduction. We did Establishment last time. So I like the Establishment Introduction. In fact, one of the things I got out of it was Dusty. So I don't know what is going to be in my future, because Dusty was an awesome pilot. I really loved him. I replaced the Andrew pilot with Dusty last time. So can I still get Dusty now that I'm going down Sparks path? I don't know. I think that there's actually this other pilot called Yolindo that you end up getting instead. I don't see that here, but and then there's a third faction. So this is very Star Wars-ish. You got the Empire, right? You got the Empire, you got the Rebels, and then you have the Hutts, right? The third, what do they call them? I don't know what the right term is, but it's the Hutts and the gangs, and that's called the Ronin. So you can see there's 4 levels of Ronin reputation you can earn as well, and they are they seem a little seedy, but what was crazy about those missions is all 4 of these ended up being very humane. Like, because the Civil War is getting so crazy, they were the only reasonable people in the whole battle. Like, both sides did stupid things, and you're like, oh my God. But the Ronin were the only ones that were being reasonable, and those are the mafia lords. The other reason you're going to want to do the Ronin ones is there's some seriously good money to be earned, and money was something we always needed in this game. I know some people said that money is never short. I think you're crazy, but I mean, I'm not saying I ever was at a point where I had zero money and I was like, gosh, we're out of gas and we need more supplies. This isn't as bad as the AD Hunters 2114. However, I found that we had plenty of money as long as we did the missions. But you're looking at this is 10 missions, that's 4 missions, and then there's a whole bunch of other ones as well. Lots of missions in Act 1. We're going to be here for a long, long time. Okay, so I just gave you the rundown. Basically, we're going to have 6 ships out here, but if we choose the establishment, these 2 would have been friendly to us, but we chose the Sparks, so we're going to have 4 friendlies. But remember, these are smaller ships. These are the big battleships. They're going to be a lot harder to kill. I still am of the belief system that 2 ships is always better than 4. Doesn't matter if they're bigger because they still only shoot once. They may hit 2 targets, fine, but they're still only shooting once. Whereas this is shooting 4 times. Can we, well, we'll get there when we get there, but so far we've been fighting Ronins, we've been fighting frigates, and these Takachka don't come until Act 2, so we're not going to see them for a long time, so I'm going to put those at the bottom. But here you go, there's the Ur beacon, which, we said your gunship and your science vessel. So the beacon, this is like their Sparrow. And there you can see, there's the Titan. His hull strength was 15 times the number of pilots. So 60 hull, 60 shield. And then he does 6 plus 4, that'd be 10 damage every attack. And then this is their big guy. Here we go, here's the science vessels. So you can see 6 plus 8, 14. That's for an elite. They're immune to slow and armor piercing. And then just for this mission, hack, but don't worry about that. We can't hack them anyways. They're synthetic cruisers. We've already faced those. Okay, so we got more cards somewhere I need to grab. Oh, here they are. So here's another vessel. These UIAs, we're going to face those. Those were Medilia type of ships. So we're going to be fighting our own kind when we do those. Let's see, gunships. Here you go. Here's the difference. So a regular gunship is 8 and 8 with 4 damage. And here you can see it's 6 and 6 with 3 damage, but they're immune to stun. That's the big thing. And then if you go to the elite side, they're immune to armor piercing. And this one's immune to slow, this one's immune to stun. So 10, 10, 5, and 6, 8, 3. So there you have it. These are the ones we're going to be fighting a lot in this particular thing. And trust me, just because the Sparks are in the crappier ships this time around, even though they're more numerous, that's not always the case. We fought against plenty of your gunships when we were on the establishment side. And then, yeah, these UIA ships they're pretty tough, but we don't have to, thankfully, fight them yet. Okay, I think I belabored that enough. I clearly don't have the mission set up, and we just dealt with a bat and a phone call. So I do need to end this video. The next video will be to cover this particular battle. We're basically choosing the Sparks, and then we're going to have to introduce ourselves to the Sparks, which won't happen until later. We're going to have to do some space exploration. We're going to have to find the planet and then land on it. And then once we land on the planet, there's one place to go for the establishment. There's another, basically you're going to pub number 1. The establishment is actually a lot harder to find because since the Sparks are rebelling, they sort of have control of the major city, but the establishment has like a military base, and finding that military base was actually very challenging compared to the Sparks thing. And one gripe with this mission, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but they sort of wanted you to introduce yourself to the Sparks. Like there was thing after thing that gave you automatic access to the Sparks. And we were like, yeah, but we don't want to talk to the Sparks. And so we had to keep ignoring those and keep searching for this military base where the establishment was. Once we found it, we were fine. But when we get on that planet, the game just seemed to push you in the Sparks direction so much. Okay, enough of that. The pacifist option, where you choose neither. Not a very good option. It does come back to burn you later, and I don't remember how or why, but I remember saying to myself, boy, I'm glad we didn't choose that one. But yeah, and then you can see the Sparrow's going to explore and move, because we have to do some space exploration. But yeah, we're going to get pilot skill and credits, and this concept of getting a pilot skill at the end of every mission is get used to it. We're going to start growing in our skills very rapidly now. You almost always get at least one for every mission, which is awesome. All right, so sorry that there was no actual battle in this one. This was a lot of in-between stuff, but I hope you found it helpful, and we'll see you in the next video, and I will get this set up for us. As always, thanks for watching, and stay awesome.